Hey guys, what's going on? DBfanboy here and welcome to my weekly review for Dragon Ball Super. And in this video, we're going to review Dragon Ball Super episode 124 titled, The Fiercely Overwhelming Assault, Gohan Fights with His Back to the Wall. Now, I've said this multiple times that since the year began, Super has put out great episodes. So naturally, I expected 124 to continue that trend. I'm not gonna lie though, I was expecting it to be not as good as last week's episode, but still good nonetheless. But I have to say that I was wrong, because I loved this episode. I know a lot of people on Twitter were not too fond of the episode, but I personally thought it was great. Animation was pretty good, even though there were a lot of recycled animation. We got not one but two eliminations, tons of action, and not to mention there was a lot of suspense because we didn't know if Frieza was going to betray Universe 7, and everyone was waiting to see if Gohan was going to get eliminated. So all that, plus the fact that I was never bored during the episode, adds up to a pretty great episode for me. And I don't want to brag, but I was pretty much correct on everything from my predictions video for once, so yay me. But with that being said, let's move on to the rating for this week's episode. Now, if you're new to my reviews, it's a very simple system. It's just based on a scale of 1 to 7, nothing fancy. So with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and say that this week's episode is a 6-star episode. Now, like I said before, I think a lot of people are going to be torn about this episode. Some people are going to love it, and some people are going to say that it was whatever. But I doubt anyone will say that it was a bad episode. Maybe Gohan fans, but there's no way that they can honestly think that it was a bad episode. But anyways, leave a comment down below and let me know what you would rate this week's episode, or if you agree with me. But let's move on to talk about the episode itself. Now, just because I loved it doesn't mean that there weren't a lot of flaws in it. So I'll go ahead and go over some of the things that I thought were great and talk about some stuff that I feel they could have done to improve this week's episode. So right off the bat, we got action with Goku, Vegeta, and Jiren. And this dude Jiren, man, I honestly don't know how they're going to beat him. This is Brawly all over again. I thought for sure with Goku and Vegeta's new power-up, it would even out the playing field a little bit more, but Jiren is just still way too overpowered for them. But speaking of Vegeta's new form, this is one of the things that they could have done to improve the episode. I'm still waiting to see what exactly this new form is capable of. As far as I can tell, he's just faster and stronger, but I want to see how much stronger and how much faster he is, because right now it doesn't seem like that much of an upgrade. But I guess we'll just have to wait until episode 126 to see it in real action. But moving on to Dyspo and Frieza, I'm so glad we finally got to see Frieza actually fight. We had to wait too long to see him in real action. And that music, man, that music Frieza has is so epic. I don't think I'll ever get tired of hearing it. It honestly fits him so well, and it's always so appropriate for the scene, it never feels forced. But back to their fight, I have to admit I was sleeping on Dyspo. I thought he was going to be no match for Frieza, but seeing him actually give Frieza a run for his money, and Golden Frieza at that, it was still really cool to see that these last remaining fighters are the real deal. Even if it is a quote-unquote ass pull power-up Dyspo got, I don't care, it was still dope. And just like I thought Dyspo wasn't going to take Frieza's deal because, well, that's just not the way the Pride Troopers roll. And Jiren probably would have gave Dyspo a whooping just for dealing with someone as evil as Frieza anyway. But it's still unsure if the offer was genuine or if Frieza would have turned on him the way he did Frost. But either way, it was a no-go, and Dyspo ended up being too much for Frieza to handle. Now, before I move on to Gohan joining in the fight, there was something the priest said that was very interesting. Now, I don't know if it's just Toei putting salt on the wounds, or a bad translation, or if it was a genuine hint at something, but when the God Pads weren't able to keep up with Dyspo and Frieza's speed, the Grand Priest said, "Next time, I shall prepare a more high-spec God Pad." Now, I don't want to overthink this too much, but it sounds like there are plans to have another tournament in the future. But since we know that Super will be taken off the air at the end of March, it could be a hint at a future series or continuation of Super after the movie at the end of the year. Once again, I'm not saying this is proof, I just found it very interesting for the writers to add that into the story. For all we know, the wish at the end of this tournament could be to restore everything and to never have a tournament like this again. So don't go starting Super continuation confirmed videos or posts just yet. But moving on to Gohan entering the fight, I really loved the dialogue between him and Frieza this episode. Everything from Frieza mocking him as the team leader to Gohan letting him know that he's not that dude to mess with if he even thinks about trying something funny. And I was really shocked to see that Gohan was actually able to go toe-to-toe with powered up Dyspo. Like, where was this Gohan all tournament? I know a lot of Gohan fans were really upset to see him eliminated, but at least he didn't go out like a chump. Gohan fans should be pretty proud the way he went out. He showed great leadership, got some eliminations. He really broke out of that schoolboy nonsense that they had him doing. He showed that he was a great strategist when it comes to fighting. So if you look back at him at the beginning of Super and where he is now, you really can't complain. And I know everyone wanted a new form for him in Super, but honestly, they've given out too many already. And I personally think his ultimate form is one of the coolest forms in the franchise. I wouldn't want him getting anything else because it's something that's exclusive to him. So it sets him apart from every other Saiyan in the series. So I say to all the Gohan fans out there, chin up, because at least he's ending on a way better note than he did at the end of Z. So when the next series of Dragon Ball comes out, and I say when and not if because I can't see Super being the last series in the franchise, Gohan will be at a place to where he can ascend his power without having to start all over again. But back to the episode. So with Gohan and Dyspo now eliminated, we are down to Goku, Vegeta, 17, and Frieza versus Jiren and Toppo. And from the looks of next week's preview, those numbers might get a little more evened out because Toppo is about to go ham. God, I love the way things are going. Anyway, that wraps up this review. So like I said before, go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this week's episode. Do you guys agree with me on my rating for episode 124, or am I off on my review and this episode wasn't as good as I think it is? And if there's anything that I missed in the episode or didn't go over well enough, let me know down below. And before I leave, I want to remind you to subscribe if you aren't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all future videos. And don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook for more content. But that's all for me, and I want to thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will catch you guys later.